Good afternoon, audience. This is the Hotness and Sweetly, and we like to welcome you back to another edition of our Restaurant Magic Show. We're so happy you're here, right, Sweetly?
Of course we are.
Yes, audience. We know you guys have lots of options, and we're just so happy you guys are tuning in and listening to us. I mean, I look at the stats, and we're just going all over the world globally, right, Sweetly?
France. Oui.
Japan, Jamaica, Canada. Hello, friends. But we digress. You guys know we're foodies and we love to eat and we connect with everything that's associated with foods. And today we have a special guest. I mean, foodies out there, this is something that you would appreciate with all your meals. We have Diesha Banner with Toasted Up, and she also has a partner, Shannon Eris. Shannon's not here right now, so shout out to Shannon.
Shout out.
Hello. But Diesha, tell us all about Toasted Up.
Great. So I am Diesha, of course, and we are Toasted Up. We are a mobile mixology and bartending service. So we provide custom cocktails and mocktails for events. We're event-based. So if there is a favorite spirit, if there is a color scheme, if there's a theme, or anything like that, we create your bar experience with that. So whether that is cocktails or mocktails, which are non-alcoholic options, we offer that as well. And we provide full service. So if you would like for us to come, we can do the full bar setup. If you like to provide your own alcohol, we serve it for you. We do in-home parties, corporate events, birthday parties, Sweet 16s, festivals, all types of different kinds of events. But we are event-based, so we don't necessarily have a location that you come to, but we bring that experience to you.
All right. And you said the non-beverage was called
A mocktail.
a mocktail. I like that.
I
That
know.
was going to be one of my questions. Do you do non-beverages? So now we know what it's
I
called.
like it.
A
Yes,
mocktail.
we do.
I hadn't
We
heard
do.
that before.
Yes. So let me ask you this. How did you come up with this?
So, initially I got into bartending. I have a 16-year-old son, but at the time he was a little younger, and I wanted to figure out a way as a single parent to just increase my revenue and coming in. And so I did not want to take like a part-time job, but because he's very active, and so I didn't want to miss his life events or his games or things like that he was doing. So I was thinking maybe I could do this on the side, and then that way I could still kind of create my own schedule, and then kind of again still be available for the events that he would be there for, and still be an active participant. And so he is a basketball player, and Shannon's son is a basketball player, and we kind of met through basketball. And one day the kids were testing, and so she gave me her card, and she was like, if you ever need bartending services, let me know. And I was like, oh, I'm a bartender too, but I've not really done anything with it. And so she was like, oh wow, that's interesting. Interestingly enough, we have the same birthday as well, but we were just kind of chit-chatting and decided that we would kind of sign up through some of the same staffing events, because I knew I didn't necessarily want to do a bar. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it would be outside of the time period would be a lot of commitment. Again, I would be on a schedule, so if I did it through a staffing agency, I would be able to kind of create my own schedule and take on the events that I could, and the events that I couldn't, I just would pass those up. And so we just started doing it and realizing that we can probably do this on our own, looking at the grand scheme of things, the money that was coming in,
Right.
and the people pay a lot of money for events. And we just kind of became the go-to folks, and so everybody was kind of requesting us and wanting us to be there. And so it was kind of like, we're obviously pretty good at this, let's see what we can do. So we started small with just weddings, birthday parties, people that we knew. We started on Gig Salad, which is a website that allows people to kind of book you independently. So we did that.
Okay, what's the name of the website again?
It's called Gig Salad. GIG Salad. And so they have entertainers and all kinds of different things on there. But you can promote your services on there. And so we started doing that, and also just small promotion. And then a couple of years ago, just decided that we were really going to start promoting it and really get into it. And so here we are.
Well, I'm pretty sure with bartending, there comes the personality.
Absolutely.
So I know you got to be cheerful. You got to be smiling.
Absolutely.
Is that you?
That is me. I am a people person. I'm in human services full time as well. So I deal with a lot of people. Customer service has kind of always been something that I've been into. But yeah, talking to people, interacting with people, meeting new people, hearing their stories.
Yes.
Just talking to them, kind of getting the understanding of how their day has been or things like that. Has always been something for me. I'm a social worker by nature, so I'm always going to ask a bunch of questions.
Right. As well as listening.
As well.
Because the more you drink, the more you talk.
Like, tell me your story. When did it all happen? I
make that glad to tell the story.
Right. So how did you and Shannon come up with the name Toasted Up?
Shannon was already using Toasted Up on her cars, and so I kind of liked that. And then we just came up with the hashtag of Let Me Mix You. And that was kind of my contribution to it. So I just thought that was catchy as a hashtag and something that we could use. And so we just kind of went from there.
Wow. Okay, Let Me Mix You.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
You know the hotness likes it. And so what's the biggest event that you guys have, done with your mixology?
Our biggest event thus far has been we have worked with a lot of sororities and fraternities, and so we did a lot with the Omegas here in Durham, and they kind of connected us with the Omegas in Charlotte, and so we did their soiree, which is about 1,000 people.
Wow.
And so we team up with a couple of other bartenders. We've created kind of a go-to group of girls that will need some help.
Yeah.
We reach out to them, and we just all kind of go down, and if there's something that we need help for, even locally, we'll reach out to that same group of folks that we kind of go to, and if there's a larger scale event, we'll pull them right in.
Okay, and how long did you say you've been doing this?
So we've been in business for 5 years, but we just, like I said, started ramping it up in the last couple of years, so maybe the last 3 years or so. I had a coworker that was like, you really should go ahead and just do it. And so he kind of motivated me, and that's kind of what we did. We just kind of took it full scale, so now I do a lot of connecting and reaching out, and just making relationships. Any business has to thrive off of relationships, so just kind of getting out there, meeting people, networking, finding out what events are going on, getting involved in those. Again, when I tell everybody all the time, I kind of stumbled into bartending. I really didn't realize how much that of an impact that it had, and so I was just kind of thinking of something to do, but it's really like a full, it could be a full career. So now I realize that there are other bartenders. I follow a lot of other bartenders in different areas. I actually joined the Bartenders Guild, which is kind of like the union for bartenders. Okay. So there's a lot of education in that. For me, I'm always passionate about teaching people about what they're doing and sharing information that I know. Eventually, I want to do some festivals and spirits around Black-owned spirits and wines and things like that people don't. This February, kind of did a chronicle for all of February where I shared Black-owned spirits and wines. So that was something that's pretty passionate. There's a lot of diversity in it, but it's not really known and shown, and so and African Americans spend $3 billion a year in spirits.
Wow.
And so there are several groups that are really trying to make these brands realize that, hey, our voice matters too. We're here. Our dollars are involved in this. And so I want people to know a little bit more about that as well. And also ownership of it. Creating their own spirits, having some ownership in the industry, or just owning their own businesses and kind of building off from that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and what are the names of the groups that you're referencing, trying to get people to know about ownership?
I'm a part of a group called Black Bourbon Society. That's about 5,000 members. That's on Facebook as well as Instagram. I'm also a part of another group that focuses on more of there are certain people that I follow as well. So Samara is one of those. She owns Black Bourbon Society. Black Brew Culture. We connect with Harlem Brewing here locally. But Black Brew Culture, they're actually having a Black Beer Festival in Philadelphia. And
the hotness may like that.
So
So it's focusing around the diversity in craft beers. So they're having, I think it's coming up in August, but they're another one that I follow. Individuals that I follow are like the collectress, Fawn Weaver, who is with Uncle Nearest, who was a derivative of Jack Daniels. He was a slave, but he couldn't actually make it. I mean, he couldn't actually be on it and sell it, but he had the recipe. And so that's kind of how Jack Daniels came about. And they always vowed that he would always be a part of it. And so she kind of went and researched all of that. She did amazing things for his family, set up trust and everything. And so now that's coming back into the market, but it's the actual recipe that Jack Daniels was derived off of. So all of this stuff is kind of stuff that I just kind of stumbled about in research when I first just looked stupid around. I'm a geek by nature. Okay. So I do a lot of like just reading and random research. Stuff. I'm like, oh wow, this is cool. This is interesting. Even back to tipping, how it was just because they didn't want to pay slaves, and so it was like, well, let me just give you a tip. And so now that they had a connection to Tuskegee, and so that's why a lot of people, African Americans, kind of got connected to Hennessy. A lot of black people like Hennessy, and so that was the connection through Tuskegee because they kind of partnered years and years ago.
And what about moonshine, Diesha? What do you know about moonshine?
So moonshine is more.
What do you know about moonshine, hotness, or why do you want to know about moonshine? No, I'm joking. Go ahead, Diesha.
Leave me alone. Go ahead, Diesha. I like researching too.
Exactly. But these are things that kind of derive from, again, being slaves and not being able to be as open with what we wanted to do and not being able to profit from it. So we sold it to each other. We kind of made our own ways. Sort of like how anything starts where back in the day it was kind of like something we wanted to do. We just put it together, and it was Prohibition days. Of course, you couldn't do as much as you wanted to do because it was not legal. But people have always enjoyed spirits all throughout history, and so it just kind of derived from people wanting to get involved and kind of figuring out little recipes and creating it on their own.
Now you said something about a union and guild.
Yes,
that the
I'm
name
a part
of the union?
the U.S. Bartenders Guild.
Okay.
And I associate it as saying it's like a union for bartenders. So that's where you get resources, education. They have classes, they have conventions. They do a lot of the brands come to them if there are things that are going on, and there are national. So I'm a part of the local division, the Raleigh Durham division here, but there are different chapters all over the country, and I kind of found out again through researching a lot of the folks that I follow and have interest in were a part of the guild, and so I did some research on the guild and kind of got involved this year. I'm new to it, so I'll see how it goes, but it's definitely so far it's been beneficial. There are distilleries involved, there are bartenders involved, and so it again gives an opportunity to kind of learn a little bit more if that's your interest.
Oh, okay. Well, my favorite thing, and I always want to know, okay, how do you just tell them, okay, you cut off, no more?
Oh, yeah. How many altercations have you almost been in telling people, no more, sorry?
Luckily, we haven't had that kind of experience, that many of them. I mean, there are always those. There was one time we were at an event and a guy wanted me to kind of fill up a 12 ounce with just vodka, and I was like, sir, I am insured. This is my business. There is no way I am going to offer you that much alcohol, and you tell them where you got it from.
Exactly. You'd be going to the hospital. Wouldn't you have alcohol?
Exactly. And he was like, well, you're just not going to get my money. I was like, I'm completely fine with that. Yeah. That is your decision. But yeah, we do go through safe training. Actually, just completed a couple of weeks ago, because it's also tied into our insurance. So, but it's also, but again, for me, it's all about the knowledge and gaining that kind of information to be able to notice the things that I need to notice. IDing folks, cards. There's always still the underagers, but again, we do event based, so a lot of times we already know what the age groups are. But with weddings and things like that, there's a mixed crowd, so sometimes there are some younger folks in there, and we do always let our hosts know that we do reserve the right to card and we do reserve the right to refuse.
Well, for our listeners who would be interested in having this type of business, what kind of advice or what do you have out there that you could tell them to get them started?
Absolutely. So for me, I always tell people to read. Just read. Follow certain folks. I follow a lot of podcasts. There are lots and lots of podcasts. There are lots of magazines, e-newsletters. I do have subscriptions to some of those, like Bar IQ, and there are. Now that you ask me, I get tongue tied. Bar IQ is one. Liquor.com is another resource, and so these are places where you can kind of go to get information. I follow folks outside of the area as well, because there are other places that do a lot more than this area does, and so I'm not just limited to getting information here locally. I do kind of reach out to other folks as well, and just kind of stay in the loop. Do a little research around your area, what your laws are, and just kind of think about what you want to do, because there's so many aspects to the spirits industry. You don't necessarily have to be a bartender, whether you want to do craft beer, craft wine. There's also craft wine, which a lot of people don't know, but there's craft wine, there's craft beer. Do you want to be a distiller? Do you want to be behind the bar? Do you want to be a bar manager? So just kind of figure out how you want to be involved first, and then kind of do some research around your particular area and what the needs are in that particular area, and go out and network. That's the biggest thing. People will more than likely purchase anything from you if they have a relationship with you. And so I've just been a serial networker, meeting people and taking opportunities and just kind of finding out what people want and what people like, and do what works for you. I wouldn't necessarily try to fit into the mold of someone else, but you got to do what works for you. Because what may be interesting to me may not be interesting to them, or what works for me may not work for them. So trust your gut and kind of go with what works for you. That's kind of my advice to anybody.
When you said craft, you said craft beer, craft wine. What do you mean?
So craft is, years ago, you could not kind of create your own. Craft is more about people making it on their own, adding, because craft cocktails, same thing. You're making your own ingredients and you're putting those things together. So the same thing with beer and wine. You're kind of creating that experience that is signature to your particular beverage. So craft is more so a term used for like simply like home, or something that you kind of create with specific ingredients to it.
Is there a signature drink that you guys have?
We do create custom cocktails for each event. Some of my favorites include, I try to do white because most people drink white, so most of them are white, but we certainly do brown as well.
White would be like gin, vodka.
Whites are your gins, your vodkas, your rums, white rums, and then your darks are more so your cognacs, so that's like your Hennessy's, your Crowns, things of that nature. Brandy, all of those, bourbons and that sort of thing.
What are some of the, I guess, top 3 like drinks that you've seen throughout, your course of business that it's always the go-to that people order from you guys?
Back in the day when I drink, it was Long Island iced tea, girl.
No one asked you, sweetly. Well, I do like the apple teeny. We volunteering information.
And see, that's what makes us unique, is that we're able to do a lot of different things. So it would depend on the event, because we create that custom to the event.
Right.
So like people don't necessarily, a lot of times the big secret is that people don't know what they drink.
Right.
They just have been referred, somebody told them something, they're like, try this, this works. And so a lot of times people just come up and say, make me something, because I don't know what I like. And so I'll create from what we have, I'll create something from that.
And that would be a craft drink.
And that would be a craft drink.
Oh, I'm learning, y'all.
Yes, look out, world. Sweetly learning about the craft drinks. What we gonna do with you?
We're gonna put a shirt on her and bring her to an event.
right.
Experience behind the
Toast it up. Let me mix you.
That's right. We do. And to note that we do classes as well for folks that are interested in learning. Over the Christmas holidays, we did some holiday cocktails where because people entertain over the holidays. So we kind of gave them some ideas for the in-home bartender. That doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it or have something that tastes well. So we kind of give you some ideas. So yeah, we do classes as well. So we can teach you.
Yes. We'll be very good students, right, Sweetly?
No, I'll take that. What do you call the one where you don't have any drinks?
The mocktail.
Oh, the mocktail. Well,
we can do that as well.
Okay.
We can do that as well.
what are you trying to say?
You know what I'm saying.
Well, you better not say it. We're talking to Diesha right now.
Look, okay, on a serious note, Diesha, was there ever a time when you just said, I don't want to do this anymore?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Is this costly to you? I mean, is this something where you have to put the cost for the drinks up front and then, you get your pay? Or how does that
Some
work?
events are like that, but most times not. Because we create a contract or whatever. So if we purchase it, then of course we pass that on to the customer.
Right.
But if there is an event where there's like a fundraiser or something of that nature, and then we can get it back on the back end of that. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys go to the ABC store and just buy everything, and then you guys
Yep,
go out
that's
there
our
and serve it
concierge
up.
service. So we'll go out and purchase everything that's needed for that particular event. And if they want to do it themselves, then we'll provide them with a shopping list of the things that they'll need. A lot of
the
people
lemons, the limes, and the olives, and all the works.
How you know all that? But I'm not going. So do you get a discount with the ABC store at all when you make the purchases? Okay.
No.
Wow.
North Carolina is going through some changes as far as their laws. So there'll be some new things coming out. I just found out that in one of the USBG meetings that the alcohol laws in North Carolina have not been changed since 1938. So we're dealing with some antiquated laws. So
I know we recently got to have what mimosas went on. I think it was on Saturday.
So, yeah,
you're
so
allowed
the
to have-
NCRLA is an advocacy group, a lobbying group. So they are doing some things to kind of help bring that stuff up to date.
Was there a time when you only could have mimosas? What
Well, you couldn't have anything on Sundays at all.
yeah,
So the brunch bill
yeah.
more so made sure that you could at least have it, but after a certain hour.
Right. They still got it on lockdown.
Yeah,
You know, my brothers come from California, and when they were exposed to that law, they were like, "What is this?"
We ain't coming back. So yeah,
basically,
hopefully,
you don't need to be drinking on Sunday
we'll be
anyway.
able to do those things because it'll be retail options in there as well. So like when you go to Target or Walmart or Costco and things like that, you'll be able to purchase it there. But those are the things that they're introducing. So hopefully these things pass in the next couple of months and we can get in the new age.
Okay, that's right.
Well, Diesha, look, there's plenty of listeners listening, and so we want you to just tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely.
By social media, want to holler out a phone number anyway, because I'm pretty sure that since we've done this one, which is like a traveling bar, I'm like excited. We're doing the things, aren't we, Hotness?
We're doing the things. Go ahead,
How they
Diesha.
can find you.
Sounds good. So we are Toasted Up with Us, and that's TOASTITUP with us.com. We are the same on Twitter, Toasted Up with Us. Facebook, Toasted Up with Us as well. Facebook.com/Toasted Up with Us. And then we are on IG as the same, but there are underscore between every word. So toast underscore it underscore up underscore with underscore us.
And phone number?
919-995-7870.
And did we say Facebook?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, we did say that.
We
Okay.
did.
All right. So, hey, what do you think? Toast it up and then hashtag
Let me mix you.
let them mix you. This has been
The Hotness.
and Sweetly checking out what Toasted Up was all about.
Thanks, Diesha.
You're welcome.
When will I get married? Waiting can never be easy. Whether it's waiting on a taxi or a job promotion, it can be difficult. When it comes to waiting on Mr. Right, aka Boaz, it becomes even more challenging to wait while you're single. In this lighthearted book, Where's Boaz? I don't know, I'm tired of kissing frogs too. Best-selling author Nevada York offers suggestions based on the Bible's great love story of Ruth and Boaz and from her own experience of waiting on God. You will learn the attributes of Ruth and use the Ruth reality chart to do a self-check on your own attributes. Nevada also shares the 10-step plan that Ruth followed to win her Boaz. Obedience and being a blessing plays a key role. Trust the Lord and His timing. Make your season of singleness Ruth-defining. Order Nevada York's latest book, Where is Boaz? I don't know. I'm tired of kissing frogs too. Available on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle.